Picture the corporate equivalent of a school play. Grown adults in color-coded vests pretending regulatory compliance is a costume party. Meet Chad Bellwether, mid-level manager, ambition the size of Texas, competence the size of a cocktail shrimp. Chad had a vision, a regulatory response task force, because nothing says we take oversight seriously quite like a task force nobody asked for. Chad didn't build policy, Chad built merch. Neon vests, orange for escalation, teal for documentation, a fetching maroon for liaison, all crowned by a laminated org chart so glossy you could reapply mascara in it. 23 boxes, 4 of them said TBD, and none of them connected to an actual process. Jules Carmichael took one look and said, "If knowledge is power, then data is king." And Chad's kingdom appears to be made entirely of construction paper. Demetrius Hedgie just sighed the sigh of a man who'd seen this movie before, calling it the financial institution's largest data recovery scavenger hunt. Spoiler, no one wins, especially not the guy in the teal vest. Chad's task force met weekly, mostly for donuts, with meetings that were 90% icebreaker, 10% agenda, and 0% output. Chad called it synergized readiness posture. Everyone else just called it Tuesday. Then the phone rang, and not an internal phone. The kind of call that gives compliance officers sudden chest pains. A real regulator requesting documentation of the bank's regulatory response framework, effective immediately in writing with evidence of testing. Chad, to his credit, did not panic. He panicked to his discredit instead. Immediately and loudly, sprinting down the hallway in his orange vest yelling, "We need the binder. Where is the binder?" There was no binder. There had never been a binder. There was only a PowerPoint with a stock photo of a firefighter, captioned, "Ready for anything. Enter Grace Fortuna, compliance powerhouse." The person regulators actually believe, mostly because she never hands them a stock photo of a firefighter as proof of anything. Grace walked into Chad's task force war room, a repurposed supply closet with a laminated chart taped crooked to the wall, and just stared. "Chad," she said calmly, "is this an org chart or a treasure map?" Chad, sweating through teal, insisted it was fully operational. Grace tapped one of the TBD boxes and asked, "Operational to do what exactly?" Silence followed. Somewhere a vest squeaked. With regulators expecting documentation by end of day, Grace didn't have time to build a real framework from scratch. She had to translate cosplay into something resembling actual policy, using nothing but enthusiasm, laminate, and mild delusion. She called in Peter Prema to map what systems Chad's task force theoretically touched, and it turned out 3 of the 23 boxes actually corresponded to real teams doing real work, while the other 20 were pure cosplay. Jules dug through 6 months of meeting invites looking for any decision, test, or escalation that had ever occurred, and found instead detailed, itemized donut orders. Mickey Conciliere, ever the diplomat, tried offering the regulator's liaison a nice bottle of Chianti, insisting nothing thaws hearts like fine wine and good pasta, only to be told flatly that they were a federal regulator, not a wedding. Demetrius, unbothered as ever, muttered 2B2M, too big to manage, and apparently too vested to function. Grace spent the next 6 hours doing what Grace does best, turning nonsense into narrative that regulators could actually trust. She stripped out every TBD box, consolidated the real functions, wrote actual escalation paths with actual names attached, and submitted a lean, honest, 3-page framework. No vests, no lamination, and absolutely no fictional firefighters. The regulator's response came back simple, approved, with a follow-up in 90 days. No mention of the missing binder, no mention of teal. When Chad asked if the task force stays, Grace told him the task force becomes a spreadsheet with actual owners, and Chad, the vests go in the donation bin. And that's the lesson, folks. Regulators don't care how many colors your org chart has or how shiny your laminate is. They care whether the thing you built actually works when the phone rings. Dressing the part doesn't replace doing the part. Compliance isn't cosplay, and no amount of neon vest ever survived a real audit.